So this is Hold'em or Cut'em, the tight end edition, and the first guy is Robert Tonyan of the Green Bay Packers. He emerged on the scene in Week 4 with a monster fantasy game, 28 fantasy points and 3 touchdowns versus a lousy Falcon defense. But since then, in his last 2 games after the bye week, he's at 10 combined fantasy points. And Devontae Adams is back in Green Bay. Allen Lazard, he practiced this week also, so he's another guy they're going to add back in that offense. And Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't really used the tight end over the last few years like we saw with Jimmy Graham. The last guy I remember really doing his thing there was Jermichael Finley, and that was years ago. And Richard Rodgers, who's re-emerged with the Eagles now. But anyway, as far as Robert Tonyan, this is the last week I'm going to see what he does. Is Tonyan versus a weak Minnesota Vikings defense. And if Tonyan cannot get you more than 5 fantasy points or whatever, he's a guy I'm dropping. But for right now, in Week 8, I'm going to hold on to Tonyan one more week. The second guy is Mike Gesicki of the Miami Dolphins. I said in my drop video it was time to drop him, and I'm sticking to it. Gesicki now, he had a goose egg his last game before the bye week, but with Fitzpatrick, at least Fitzpatrick adds that ball out. He spreads it around to all his receivers and tight ends, and now Tua Tagovailoa is in there as the starter, and I think the offense is going to just build around the run and a lot of rollouts and passes to the running backs. So Mike Gesicki, I don't see him being a major factor in fantasy football anymore, especially the inconsistencies he had with Fitzpatrick, who was a gunslinger, like I said. Now the Dolphins, they're going to play more conservative, I believe, with Tua, or just let Tua unleash and have a lot of design run plays to him, and they'll be a run-first football team more. So Mike Gesicki, he's a guy I'm definitely getting away from at the tight end position. The next guy is Dalton Schultz of the Dallas Cowboys, and he's a guy I'm definitely going to drop, and I still see Schultz in a couple of my leagues. He still started, and what can you expect from Schultz? Once Dak Prescott went down, you knew a few guys in that offense were going to take a hit, and Schultz was definitely one of them. His percentage has been starting to go down in fantasy leagues as he went down now over the last 2 weeks, 30% ownage. And last week versus Washington, he only had 4 points, and the week before that, 7.5. This week he's got Philly, but the rookie Ben DiNucci's in there. I don't know, maybe DiNucci will target the tight end or not, but there's better intriguing options right now than Dalton Schultz. So if I have Schultz on my roster, I'm cutting him till further notice. The next guy is Jimmy Graham of the Chicago Bears. And Jimmy Graham, he's had a couple good games this year. Last week, though, he looked slow. The rookie was playing over him and getting more snaps, it seemed like. This week, he's in a revenge game as Jimmy Graham versus one of his former teams, I should say, the New Orleans Saints. Maybe Graham could have you a decent game, but I don't know. After what I saw on Monday Night Football, Graham, he just looked slow. He didn't look into it. Foles wasn't targeting him that much until garbage time, even though the Rams are a good defense. But Jimmy Graham, I'm still going to hold on to him and see what he does. Just don't expect a nice performance like 12 to 15 points. He's more of the tight end in that 7 to 9 range is Jimmy Graham. And he's a touchdown-dependent type of tight end also, is Graham. So Graham, he's a guy I'm going to hold for now. And the next and last guy is Greg Olsen of the Seattle Seahawks. At this point, it's only name recognition that this guy's owned. He barely gets any targets or anything, is Olsen. I know Russell Wilson looked for him last week early in that game in the end zone, and it bounced off Olsen's hand. Or they would have went up early, 14 points. But Olsen, he's not doing much. He's not getting the targets. He's slow. He's like a Jason Witten type now, that once he catches the ball, he's just going down. And I've seen him still on some teams in a few leagues. But Olsen, the last few weeks, he's done nothing for you. 3 points, and 3. So he's a guy I'm going to drop this week in Week 8. So that's hold him or cut him at the tight end position.